Friends! Hello, friends! Anybody out there? Can anyone hear me? Early gang. Hey, Martina. What's up, you guys? Anybody out there? Can I get a thumbs up? A hey, we're in the house. Mentor Mondays. Can you guys hear me okay? Anybody listening out there? Hello. Hey, guys. Hey. What's poppin'? Oh, my goodness. We're back, you guys. We're back for another session. Mentor Mondays, you guys. We are here. We have arrived. Hi, Beneath. Hey, Martina. Hey, Chill Wabes. Danaid, I think. Rosio. Hey, you guys. Hey, Taylor. So here we are, guys, another Mentor Monday session. I'm going to start these promptly just because, people are going to come and go for these sessions. So I want to respect everyone's time and, be prompt and try to get the most out of this 1 hour. So just to refresh us, if this is your first time, welcome to Mentor Mondays. I am Julia. I am a 4th-year medical student. This is my channel, The Julia Carter. I detail my journey to medicine, getting to medical school, through medical school. I also do a lot on beauty, travel, everything. There's something here for everybody. Believe it. Your mother, your father, your brother, your friend down the street. There's something here. Trust me. So be sure you guys are subscribed, hit that notification bell so you're alerted when anything comes through. Hey, Grishma. Hey, Adrienne. Hey, Aaliyah Nicole. So yeah, welcome. This is Mentor Mondays. This is our second session, you guys. So I launched this Mentor Mondays series last month, and it's pretty much dedicated to really just being a live Q&A to interact with my subbies, with individuals who are looking for mentorship or guidance regarding college, medical school, graduate school, all of the above, for you guys to interact with me and have your questions answered here first live, because it's not always easy to get to every comment or get to every message that I get, although I do try. I promise you guys I try. So that is the purpose behind Mentor Mondays, and this is the second session in our season. I will be hosting these monthly on Monday evenings at 7 p.m. So I hosted one last month, and this is our second session. So welcome. All right, you guys. So just some house rules. All I ask is that you respect yourself, respect the others in the room, in the chat, in the arena out here. Respect me, and just be respectful. We're all adults here, so I don't censor anyone. I do not block people or comments because I'm very big on transparency, but I'm also very big on respect. So just respect the room. Also, house rules, priority is given to the chat. So you guys are here, you're watching live, so you are my priority, you are my preference. So I will answer all chat questions first as my priority. And if there's ever a time in which there's nothing through the chat, or it's just a lull, we'll go to the submitted questions that I have from my Instagram and also from my YouTube comments. So with that, be sure you guys follow me on Instagram. I post a lot on there about Mentor Mondays, about my channel, everything. So on Instagram, I am at The Julia Carter. And yeah, be sure you follow me, you guys. So tonight, announce other house rules, and then I promise you I'm done. So along the bottom, you guys, along the bottom where you type to chat, you can see the smiley face. You could also see super chat and super sticker. So it's the little square with the dollar sign. So if I ever say anything that is helpful to you, is helpful to the room, be sure to leave a super chat or super sticker so I can acknowledge it and acknowledge you guys. It helps me to keep this channel going, keep this sustaining. So I appreciate you. I appreciate your support. And we're going to keep Mentor Mondays a thing. Lastly, major announcement, you guys. Oh my God, I am so excited to announce this. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably already saw it today. But I am so happy to announce that I have officially started a pre-medical mentorship program. So I get so many messages about wanting mentorship, individuals wanting mentorship or wanting me to mentor them. And it's just been, I've been trying for months, literally for months. It started off with my channel. Now it's Mentor Mondays. And finally, I have an official program. So it's called the Rising Stars Pre-Medical Mentorship Program. So I have a very limited capacity because one thing I pride myself on is being valuable, being a valuable mentor. There's no such thing as a bad mentor, but there are better mentors, better fits and better individuals that provide good help. And I pride myself on being a good mentor and a valuable mentor. So I'm only taking about 20 mentees in this first kind of trial run, but the Rising Stars Mentorship Program, I have launched it. You can find it at thejuliacarter.com/rising stars. You can also go to my Instagram bio to the link there, but it's basically a mentorship program. It's a subscription fee, kind of like Netflix or Hulu, that you can opt in or cancel whenever you want. We kind of do sessions just like Mentor Mondays, live monthly sessions. You'll also have round-the-clock access to me, and my mentees know I keep my phone in my hand, you guys. Like I do this. Like I really pride myself on being accessible to the people I mentor. So that you'll also have access to the other Rising Star mentees. So to build up your network, because at the end of the day, also kind of advising, we are all going to be colleagues, you guys. You will no longer be students at some point. I am going to be a doctor next year. You never know who can be helpful to you and in what capacity. So building up a network of individuals who you know, who you collaborate with, who you just talk to or know of from Julia Carter's pre-medical school mentorship program, you never know if that could really be of use to you in a future, event or opportunity. So build up your network. So all of that to say, yes, this is my new venture, my Rising Stars pre-medical school mentorship program. But do not be weary. If you do not want to subscribe to the monthly membership program, then you can also, if there's different services that you want of me, you can also just buy them kind of like a la carte or separately. You can get an appetizer, an entree, whatever you want. So if you need help with a personal statement, I can offer you service in that regard. If you need really good like Mcat help, like Julie, I don't know how to get over this Mcat hurdle, let's sit down and do an hour Mcat strategizing session. If you just want general advising, I'm in high school, I need to know how to navigate to put myself in the best position to get into medical school. Let's have an hour Zoom chat and let's discuss it. So on my website, you can also see all of the services that I offer, and you could buy them separately without a subscription necessary. So go to the website, check it out. It's kind of going to be the in-depth Mentor Mondays. So I'm going to continue to do Mentor Mondays on my YouTube channel. Do not be weary. This is here to stay. That is just for individuals who really want like direct access, personal, let's get to know each other. Let me actually give you personal directed advice about your journey, because everyone's journey is different. So go check it out. And let's get Mentor Mondays here on YouTube popping. So, hey everyone in the chat. All right, guys. Okay, let's get it started, because sorry, I was talking a lot and now I'm behind on my comments here. Okay, keep them coming, guys. Bring in, I love that you guys already have your questions prepared. I love this. I'll just try to go in order. So yeah, I'll try to get everyone. I try not to skip. So let me try to start. Okay, so Chowave says, what would you suggest to someone who is non-traditional? Neuro is my interest, while at a community college that does not acclimate neuro too much. Okay, neuro is your interest, awesome. Not my interest so much, but still awesome nonetheless. You're at a community college, what do you suggest to someone who is non-traditional? Okay, so we use the term non-traditional, basically, I guess, we usually use it in practice to describe people who are either in college, like not going the traditional route, which is to go to college, undergrad college, and then go to medical school. I think we need to kind of unlearn using this non-traditional, traditional terminology, because it actually is more common nowadays to have these non-traditional routes. So to take gap years, to go on to higher education. Medical school is becoming increasingly more competitive, you guys, to get into. So it's requiring a lot of like creative strategy, right? So people have to go get higher education, take gap years, get their Mcat more competitive, whatever the case may be. So what I would suggest in general to individuals who are non-traditional is really build up a killer resume. The pro to someone who's more traditional is that they're a student already. They're acclimated to learning, to being in the classroom, to going to lectures. And people who are more non-traditional, there's a hesitation because we might be a little more removed from the classroom, right? We might be a little more removed from the academic rigor. So that's a risk. That's a risk on investment, right? So what I would say is build up a killer resume that demonstrates that you are not only academically strong, but that you have a lot of either life experience or personal experience that makes you a great candidate for their medical school. So whether that's, working in a clinic or, having patient interaction, to having a killer Mcat and proving that no matter whether you're non-traditional or not, you are able to handle the rigor of standardized testing, or whether that's going on to get higher education, whatever the case may be, build up a killer resume. Personal statement is another area in which you will be able to kind of flex your capabilities and why they should invest in you. But I would just say to continue what you're doing. You didn't even have to say you were in community college, because it does not matter. If you are on the path, it doesn't matter whether you're in community college, private education, state school, whatever the case may be. Make sure you're getting your prerequisites that you need, and just build up a killer resume. That's what I would say. Alrighty, so Vineet says, I watched your video, how I got a full ride to medical school. And I was wondering if you could send the email you sent to medical schools to secure a full tuition scholarship. Thank you so much for bringing this up, Vineet, because it is one of my most kind of like highly coveted videos, because we all know how expensive medical school is, college, education in general is. So the fact that I did have a full tuition scholarship really offset a lot of the financial burden and stress that comes with medical school. So to you, Vineet, and everyone else in the room, it's called my financial aid request template. It is a part of my Rising Stars curriculum now. So if you go to my website, you can purchase that template separately. I have a lot of testimonials, a lot of people who have used my template in the past and who have had much success with it. So if you are interested, please feel free to go to the website, order the template, and it will be sent to you immediately via PDF after payment. Very affordable, and trust me, a little $15 it's $15 for the template. $15 investment can secure you tens of thousands of dollars potentially. So it's worth the investment. So that is my financial aid template. Hey, Nurse Chris. Hi, Victoria. So Victoria says, hi, Miss Julia. I'm in high school going into my senior year, and I wanted to ask, does it matter where you go to college in terms of how popular the college is? Victoria, great question. And I've discussed this in some of my other YouTube videos, but absolutely not. It does not matter. And this is something I try to kind of teach a lot of like unlearning things, because, we as society, we're kind of taught like kind of what the best things are, what the best brands are, what we should be wearing, what we should look like, where we should go to school. And it's very counterproductive sometimes, right? Because those aren't always the best for everybody. So it absolutely does not matter where you go to college in the long run. What I'll say is that we get caught up a lot in like the Ivy League of it all, the prestige of it all, right? We want to go to the best, highest ranked schools and all of that. And, the reality is that some individuals who go to those places, yeah, they might have the name behind them. They might have that institution's name driving some of their opportunities and driving some of their success, but they might be some of the most miserable. Look at some of the suicide rates at some of the Ivy Leagues. You know what I mean? So I am big on prioritizing your mental health and your wellness and what is the best fit for you. I'm also really big on prioritizing money. If you guys don't get the gist, money is huge, which goes back to the whole point of like the whole full tuition scholarship. I chose an institution that not only was a great fit for me and where I wanted to go, but I made it work for me financially, right? And I showed them why I wanted to go there, and it was able to convince them to invest in me and give me a full scholarship. So I would say go with your heart. You know where you want to be and kind of what is the right fit. And if that's a highly ranked institution or an Ivy League place, then absolutely go for that if that's where your heart desires. But if it's the state school, the community college, if it's the school down the street that you can stay at home and work and also get your college credits, then if that works for you and that's what you want to do and is best for you and your journey and your life, then absolutely go for it. So do not get caught up in the prestige of it all and the name brand things, you guys, because in the long run, it really doesn't matter. I've gone to state schools my whole life, Penn State, Pittsburgh, and now Rutgers. And I feel like I'm doing all right. You know what I mean? So I think there's really a lot of other ways to make opportunities happen for you outside of just the name behind a school. And that's where it comes in, like networking and getting really creative with who you are and what you bring to the table. So great question, Victoria. Thank you so much, Grishma. I try to dress up and get a little fancy for you guys because literally I bum it around all week, like all day. So this is the only times I actually put clothes on. Anyway, okay, yeah, you guys continue to use the super chat, the super stickers. If I'm saying anything that resonates with you, if I'm contributing value or giving you anything helpful in any way, thank you so much, Taylor, for your thumbs up. I appreciate it. Okay, let's keep it going. Thank you so much, Kelly. I appreciate the love. Martina asks, do I accept international students as mentees? Absolutely, which is part of the reason why the group chat we use is WhatsApp for that exact reason. I wanted to make sure I was inclusive to all. The only thing I will say is that I more so mentor and advise based on the U.S. medical system matriculation process. So if you are not interested in matriculating into a U.S. medical school, I am probably not the best mentor for you, in all honesty, and just being transparent. That is the process I am most familiar with. It is the process in which I would give you the most helpful advice. So if that is your interest, then absolutely, I accept international students from all over. Adrienne asks, are you going to have Mentor Mondays for Step 1 preparation? Absolutely. If you guys have questions regarding Step 1, feel free to ask them here. I have completed my Step 1 process, my Step 1 journey. Thank heavens it is done. You guys probably, if you didn't already, you can check out my Step 1 preparation videos as I was going through my dedicated study. I also just recently dropped about 10 days ago my Step 1 score release, in which I finally got my Step 1 score back. So that's my newest video. But yeah, if you have any questions regarding Step 1, feel free to ask them here today. As you guys can see, I kind of go free form. So I go based on the questions that I receive. So if you have any specific questions regarding Step 1, feel free. All righty, so Chawavitz asked for clarification as far as external resources for learning. Okay, so external resources for learning. Oh, as far as being at a community college, if that makes sense. Okay. So in general, external resources for learning, if you're interested in pre-med or the health sciences or medical school in general, Khan Academy, you guys, I talk about this in in my Mcat video about creating my Mcat study plan. Khan Academy saved my life when preparing for the Mcat. Hopefully it still exists. I gotta check. But Khan Academy is huge for just the fundamental sciences and like the biomedical sciences. So that's a great external resource at the kind of college level as you move up into medical school. And there's a plethora of external resources, but I think you're asking more at the college level. So Khan Academy, as well as UWorld. UWorld has like an MCAT bank. So if you're preparing for medical school or MCAT preparation, UWorld is a great resource as well. All righty. DCW asks, hi, do you have any resources, books, articles related to ethnic health disparities? Yes, there are plenty of journals, things that come out all the time, scientific research about ethnic health disparities. You know, you can look in JAMA. JAMA is one of the leading medical like science journals out there. Any journals, the Journal of Neuroscience, the Journal of Orthopedics, there's a journal for everything in medicine. And literally all you have to do is go and search like racial or ethnic health disparities and it'll filter by it. PubMed is also the kind of scientific database for research articles, books, publications. It is the most like, I guess, legitimate as far as the most scientific or evidence-based. So if you go search for PubMed and then you look up racial and ethnic health disparities and whatever you're looking for, whether that's in cardiology, medicine, and public health, and filter that way, you can find a bunch of evidence-based scientific articles, textbooks, whatever the case may be in your field of interest. So that's how a lot of researchers kind of figure out what they want to research and what the research already has been done and what they want to do. So nothing specific off the top of my head, but definitely a lot of websites and whatnot that you can utilize. All righty, let's see. Hi, Aiden. Thank you again, Taylor. Thank you so much, Ben. I'm glad you love the videos. Okay, Simply Aaliyah Nicole says, I'm a senior majoring in sociology and biology. Great picks, great picks. My school requires that we take 14 hours of pre-med electives. My GPA is in the low 3s, and I'm not sure if I should do a post-bac or get a master's. So you're somebody I would want to chat with more. But low 3s, it's workable. It's workable. What I would say is that just generally is I'm biased in the sense that I did a master's. And I found it extremely helpful. Actually, is probably one of the most helpful things in my competitiveness as an applicant. But yeah, my undergrad GPA was a little strong. So I would say with you, it just depends what route you want to go. So post-bacs are great, you guys. If you really do need that GPA boost, or if you need like certain credits that you don't have or certain prerequisites, I think that they're great for that, because you can kind of find established post-bac programs that already exist and you kind of just join and you go and, do what you need to do. Or you can do like a la carte post-bac programs where you only pick the classes you need to or whatever. I more so lean toward the masters. I think that they're more, I think that they're more competitive. I might be saying that a little biasly, but I think they're more competitive. I think you have a lot more flexibility in what you choose to master in. I think they're very helpful in other career paths. I think they look great when you're going to medical school. So let's chat more, Aaliyah Nicole. Send me an email or something. I'd love to give you more like advice directly and hear more about your journey in order to advise you appropriately. Martina asks, how do you schedule within undergrad to get everything done while having time for yourself? Good question. We're all still figuring it out. Across the board, no matter what level of education you're at, time management is everything, you guys. If you do not manage your time appropriately, something will suffer, whether it's your academics, whether it's your extracurriculars, whether it's your social life. You have to learn how to manage your time. So first and foremost, your priority needs to be academics, especially if we're all here interested in going on to higher education. Academics has to be your priority. So that needs to be in your, if you have a planner, if you have, I have an iPhone, shout out Apple gang. I use my calendar for everything. I schedule in my shifts, I schedule in my meetings, my mentor Mondays, my content creation. You have to find some way that works best for you for scheduling. So whether that's utilizing your phone calendar, whether that's getting a physical planner, whether that's using, some other online system, you have to schedule out things, even like down to study time or whatnot. Schedules work, like you need routine. If you let yourself just do whatever you want every day, you'll lay in bed and watch Netflix, you need schedule. And at the forefront of your scheduling needs to be academics. We are all here probably talking about pre-medicine and whatnot. So we know how rigorous the academics are. We know how important GPA is. So academics always come first, you guys. Not at the expense of your mental health or your well-being, but you need to put in that time. This is the sacrifice we make for picking, the career paths we choose. So that comes first. Build everything else around that. That will give you a sense of how much time you'll be able to allocate to biology club and your sorority and whatnot. I think students fall into the trap in undergrad of doing it the reverse, getting way too involved extracurricularly, myself included. I'm guilty of this. I always have been. But we get way too involved extracurricularly, either because that's the type of person we are. We like to be involved, or we're trying too hard to build up a killer resume. And then we schedule our academics around those extracurriculars. And unfortunately, that is the reverse order that we should be doing things. Academics first, build your extracurriculars around that. And then, leave time on the weekends or whatever for your social life. So that's kind of just the general approach of how you should be managing your time, and everything else, you fit in around it. So just always remember academics first, you guys, because like I've said in plenty of my videos, when something like a GPA, if you guys don't know, you will soon find out that a GPA is so hard to get up and so easy to fall. It is so easy for an A- or a B to drop your GPA like 0.1 or 0.2, which is huge in GPA scale. And then you're working getting A's to bring it up like a 0.0001. If you feel me, I know you feel me, because it's really easy for your GPA to drop. So don't even have those issues. Keep it up. Keep your academics strong. Okay. All right. Oren asks, what specialty are you going into? Great question, Oren. No one on my YouTube thus far has asked me what specialty I'm going into, you guys. I was so surprised that people haven't asked me, because I am applying for residency in 2 months, and I will be applying into. Give me some guesses. What do you guys think I'm applying into? What specialty do you see me in? Do you see me as a surgeon? Slicing it up. Do you see me as OBGYN maybe? Neurology, orthopedics, peds? I love the kids. What do you guys see me as? I want to hear. But yeah, let me know what kind of doctor you guys see me as. Family doc, OBGYN, peds maybe. Internal medicine, OBGYN, surgery, dermatology. There's a lot of options, and I will let you guys know in a video soon. I will drop a YouTube video about the specialty of my choice, because I haven't stated it yet, but I will let you know. But I would love to hear what you guys think I'm going into, or what kind of doctor you see me as. So let's see, where am I at? Let me make sure I don't skip. Okay, Kelly asks, I'm going into 10th grade and decided I want to go into medicine and become an OBGYN. Oh my goodness. Do you have any advice on how to study and manage your time without waiting last minute to study for tests and exams? So Kelly, this kind of goes back to exactly what I was just talking about with time management. So you are the perfect person to start this process and know that you want to go into medicine. The earlier you know that this is the career path for you, the better, because you really have control over your journey to this point, right? Like those of us who are already in it or in college or grad school or whatever, we can't go back and redo things, right? We can't go back and do college differently or work harder to get a better GPA or to retake the Mcat if it's already done and over. So you're at a great place in high school because you have the world ahead of you, and you have, great years ahead of yourself to set yourself up for success. So as I was just stating earlier to Martina's question about time management, is academics first, girl. If you want to do medicine, you're coming up kind of in an age, it's getting increasingly more competitive. So academics first always. Get as good a grades as you can, build up a killer resume, get really involved, start getting some medical experience, whether that's, shadowing is great, you guys. And let me kind of break something down for you, because I think everybody just wants to shadow all the time, shadow. The reality is shadowing really it's nothing. You don't do anything, you guys. I don't want to say it's a waste of time, because nothing's a waste of time. You will learn something, you will be able to be present, but you really you're not tasked with any responsibilities. Sometimes you don't even really get to see a lot, because you might not have the access to be in certain rooms at certain times or whatnot. So try to do something more that can be hands-on, you guys. So shadowing is great, but everybody is going to shadow at some point. Medical school is even full of shadowing. Try to do something more work-related. Try to get a job as a scribe. Try to get a job in a clinic, even if it's secretarial or something. Just having patient interaction, directly working with patients. Trust and believe, even as a secretarial duty or something like that in a medical practice or in a medical office, you will learn so much just by picking up on the medical jargon. You'll be able to shadow because you'll work there, or you'll be there. Hey, can I watch you do this? Because you already work there. So try to make it more employment related. Try to, get involved in other ways that take it to the next level beyond shadowing, because there's plenty of things you can do in the clinical setting. So just keep your options open. But Kelly, you're in a great position because you have the world ahead of you. So academics first always. Build up a killer resume, and come time for college and whatnot, make sure you set yourself up well by picking a good major that gets you all the prerequisites. Do well on the Mcat, and then we can touch base once you get to that point and talk about more matriculation into medical school. But good luck to you. All right. Iris asks, what would you recommend to do for extracurriculars to stand out as an applicant for medical school? Great question. So extracurriculars, I have a YouTube video on it, but extracurriculars are great, guys. They're obviously are a way to get super involved in college, to make friends, to make a network, to build up colleagues. But they can also be a killer of time when talking about time management. So you want to be very strategic with your extracurriculars to kill many birds with one stone. So if you join a science-related club or something, great, because that's not only in the sciences, but work your way up to a leadership position to show your leadership skills as well. You know what I mean? Get involved through that club. Hopefully they do some sort of volunteerism, right? So that you're hitting multiple things with one extracurricular, right? The point is not to have to be involved in 10 different clubs in order to have a holistic application. You should be able to be involved in maybe 3 to 5 things, max 5. 3 to 5 things to give you a very wholesome, holistic application. So pick those things strategically. Pick those things very strategically. And I always say that applicants, right? Our resumes kind of like tell a story, right? So if you look at my resume, for instance, or in medicine, in a lot of academic kind of professions, we call them curriculum vitae or CVs, which is an academic resume, basically. But if you look at my resume or my CV, you get a very clear picture of who I am and what I care about, just based on the organizations I'm involved in and the activities that I've completed. So if you look at my resume, I'm very clearly involved in a lot of mentorship programs. Surprise, surprise. I'm involved in a lot of community programming, a lot of diversity and inclusion efforts. So you get a very clear picture of like me as a person, what is important to me in the terms of diversity and inclusion, community outreach, mentorship, academic advising, academic medicine. So you want your resume to tell a clear picture of who you are. Don't let it be all over the place. Oh, he was in a fraternity, over here, and then he was in dental club, and then he was in, I don't know, like pet club, like dog club. I don't know. Just those things are great too. No shade. I'm just saying you don't have enough time to do everything. So be very strategic in the extracurriculars that you pick. Try to kill multiple birds with one stone, and make sure your resume is telling a clear picture of who you are. Sorry, that was long-winded, but I've been the person to be so overly involved. And then I look back and I'm like, why did I even do that club? Because it didn't really offer me anything valuable, right? Or, in college when we all go to the first intro meeting, or we fill out our name on the listserv and then we never show up to those things. Like it kind of self-selects itself. You will see that you just simply do not have time for everything. So you will find where your niche is and what things are important to you. What I will also say, lastly about extracurriculars is that do not think that you have to be involved in all medicine or science related extracurriculars if you are interested in medical school. Absolutely not, you guys. Like your interest in medical school is going to be evident by the fact that not only did you take the freaking Mcat, but you went through all the rigmarole of applying to medical school, which people ain't doing this if they don't want to do it. It's too much work. So be involved in extracurriculars that are fun and that give you a lot of valuable, dope experiences in college. You only get to do it once. So I guess you could do it multiple times, but really you should be in college once. But I'm saying do things that are fun, but also, like I said, kill multiple birds with one stone. So you can be in drama club or in the a cappella group, right? Those things are amazing. Not only does it make you unique, it shows your ability and talents and creativeness, but also work your way up, be in a leadership position, show that you are in organizations longitudinally. There's nothing worse than skipping, hopping around from org to org because you can't commit to one, or you didn't invest enough in one thing or two things. So you want to show that you can commit to things and stay the course, because medical school is a lot of staying the course for 4 years. So you want to show your commitment and your passion for a select few things. Sorry, that was just I went off on a tangent. Thank you so much, Simply Aaliyah Nicole. I appreciate your stickers, your chats. I love this, you guys. I love doing these Mentor Mondays. It lets me feel like I'm in the room with you guys. So be sure to continue utilizing the super chat, super stickers along the bottom of the chat box. If I'm saying anything of value or anything that's helping you in any way, I appreciate your support. Helps me keep this going. Be sure to also check out my pre-medical school mentorship program, which I just launched today, you guys. Officially taking mentees. I've been working on it for months. officially opening up my arms, my heart, my time, my cell phone, my chat to a select group of mentees to help you on your journey. So check out my website, thejuliacarter.com/rising stars. You can also go to my Instagram, and in my bio, you can find the link. Look at my pre-medical school program, Mentorship. See if it's something that's right for you, if I can offer you anything. If not, I have additional services available for personal statements, Mcat, general advising, my financial aid template. Something is there. So check it out, you guys. All right, let's get back to it. Sorry, I have questions. All right. Okay, I wish I could play music on these things without getting copyright violation. All right. Martina asks, what is your take on being a doctor, like a neurosurgeon, and wanting a family life? This has been something weighing on my mind in the specialty I really like. Wow, great question. That has yet to come up. Great question. Let me be completely honesty hour. It's always transparency with you guys, but honesty hour, you guys. Medicine, it is one of the most demanding career paths you can choose, which is why I say, if medicine is not your true passion, get out now. Get out now. Save yourself the time, the money, and just your life, your happiness, and get out now. Medicine is no longer the career path if you want to get rich. Doctors are far from rich. We're swamped in debt. We're in school forever. So it's just not the career path that it once was. And we have to realize that, right? Which is why there's so many other health professions on the rise. Physician assistants, PA programs, nurse practitioners, NPs, nurses. These are all career paths that are becoming increasingly more common and competitive, because being a doctor just doesn't always have the perks anymore that it once did. So to Martina's question, this is a big deal. And it's something that people are facing nowadays heavily, because not only are we not getting paid what we once did, and there's so much more responsibility and whatnot, but family, like people are spending years and weeks and hours of the day away from their families. So if that's something you have to really soul search about and talk to individuals in that life, that's where I would advise to shadow. If it's more of a trying to figure out the lifestyle, talk with the type of doctors that you are interested in becoming, because they will have the most realistic, transparent, advice for you as far as lifestyle goes. So thankfully, the specialty of my choice, wink, wink, I'll give you guys a hint. The specialty of my choice isn't the worst when it comes to that, but there are some very common notable ones, such as neurosurgery, such as the surgery specialties in particular, OBGYN as well, that are not always the friendliest to lifestyle and to family. So that's just something you really have to soul search and explore with yourself and figure out what your personal priorities are, what you envision your life looking like, and if that specialty is compatible, because at the end of the day, doctoring is a career, it's a lifestyle, but you're more than just your career. You're more than just a doctor or a future doctor. So you want to keep those things in mind as well. So yeah, that's kind of what I would suggest to you, Martina. If it's neurosurgery or a different specialty, try to find a neurosurgeon you can talk to, or or someone you could kind of tag along with, shadow with, and see if that's a lifestyle that's compatible with you. Because I know plenty of people who have switched specialties of interest for that exact reason. It happens actually very commonly. People switch out of things that they thought they were interested in because they found out that they would be working 95 hours a week. And it's just how am I going to be at the hospital from 4 a.m. to 7 p.m. and raise a family? So these are realities that we have to face in this career path. All right. Iris asks, would you recommend taking an Mcat class or self-studying? Great question, Iris. So I've done both in the past. I both took a took an actual class, a Princeton review class, and I also self-studied. So I found that in my experience, you do not need the classes. You do not need a structured class. Not only is it completely overpriced, you're spending thousands of dollars for you to sit in these Mcat classes and then to be like, okay, did you do your homework? You know, let's go over these questions. I could have done that on my own. You know what I mean? So I think that they're good. They're good for certain people. I would say that if you have the money laying around, if you don't mind, dishing out those coins to do a structured class, if you need help with test taking strategy, they are also helpful. But as far as content review and learning things, I did not find it helpful. It's extremely way too fast. A lot of these structured programs, they're either they're in class, but they might only be like 1 or 2 days a week. So they're flying through material. So if the problem is a lack of understanding, in which that's why you're trying to take the class, it might be that they're going to go so fast over the content anyway that it might not even help with your understanding. So I personally, because I had a lot of gaps in my fundamental understanding of concepts, I did not find it helpful. What I did find my Princeton Review and Kaplan courses helpful for was test-taking strategies that I still use to this day. Even as a medical student, even taking my board exams right now, I use some of the strategies that I picked up in like my Princeton Review course. And I talk about those strategies in my USMLE study plan video, in my Mcat study plan video. So that's what I found it helpful for. What I think it was also helpful for was structure and a regimen, a routine. You know, they give you like, you have to be here at this time, or you have to build a schedule for yourself and really follow it if you want it to be successful, which is good because structure when it comes to standardized testing is critical. So it was helpful for that. It was not helpful for me personally as far as content. All of my content review was actually through Khan Academy. What I also did find helpful with Princeton Review was the books. So I did the class the first time around when I failed. The second time around, I self-studied with Khan Academy and the Princeton Review books and did well. So it's like, it really depends on the person and what you need and like where your weaknesses are, like what you need out of the program to figure out if a class is more your speed or self-study. But generally, I think we live in a virtual world. We live in an online world. There is too many resources, free resources that available on the internet for you to have to dish out $2,500 to $3,500 for an Mcat review course. People are doing that stuff on YouTube for free. So let's get real about it. You know, like the process is long enough and hard enough and expensive enough the way it is, let alone for you to have to be dishing out these coins for these programs that may or may not help you. So I would just say find what it is that works best for you, but I don't think an Mcat class is necessary. I absolutely do not think it's necessary. Could it be helpful? Absolutely, for certain people, but I do not think it's necessary to do well. Is Mcat done in the third year of undergrad? Yes. So this is where we go back to the traditional route. If you are going the traditional route where you go to undergrad and then med school right after with no gap in between, that would mean that you would have to take the Mcat your junior year of college, because you take the Mcat, but you apply for medical school basically a year and a half in advance of like when you would start. Like it's very complex the way the system works, but you apply a year in advance of when you would matriculate, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, like a year and a half. So that requires you to take the Mcat like at your junior year, during your junior year, the end of your junior year, or the summer between. So in order for you to apply that fall and matriculate into medical school the fall after your senior year. So hopefully that clarifies. Sorry, I was a little all over the place. Thank you so much. Hey, Louisa. So Grishma asked, I'm going into 11th grade and was wondering what's your advice on how to study more effectively? All right, you guys, major plug right now. It's not an endorsement. It's not an advertisement. It's literally something I use. I talk about it in my video on my step 1 video, which I know that's not where you guys are, but this is very relevant to anybody who's a student or anybody really. You don't even have to be a student. If you have problems focusing or using these freaking devices too much, there is an app called Forest. It's called Forest. It's an app. Let me show you guys. It's this app right here. It's called Forest. What you do is you have to buy it. I think it's $2.99 for the app, but it's super worth it, you guys. And what you do is you plant a tree. So you can buy different types of trees, make beautiful trees, whatever the case may be, get some pretty trees in there, and you set a time. So it lets you set as much time as you want, from 10 minutes up to 2 hours. You plant a tree. You plant a tree, it makes a timer, right? If you leave the app, if I leave the app and go over here to Instagram, I'm gonna get a note. Ooh, there's somebody working out. I should work out. It's gonna get a notification across the top. It says, get back to your forest or your tree is gonna die. It's basically telling me, get off your phone and go study, because you said you wanted to study for 2 hours. So it's helping you not only reduce the amount of time that we're spending on our devices, because the screen time will humble you guys. If you don't use your screen time, it'll show you how much your time you're spending on your phone, but it's very distracting. And when we're talking about pre-medicine and studying and how important, our scores are, our GPA is, this is time that we really need to bunker down and have good study strategies early. The earlier you can build good study strategies, the better off you will be. Because I will kid you not, I was a terrible student, a terrible studier when I got to medical school. And, high school and college, you can kind of get by, you can get by just doing kind of the minimum and doing well on a test or whatever. But medical school is a completely different ballgame. So when you get there and you have 50 lectures to get through in a week or 2 weeks, and it requires you to literally sit and study for 8 hours a day, because medical school is a full-time job. If you're not used to that, it's hard, it's hard. So this app has really saved my life as far as teaching me better study habits and really making me put down my phone and get away from social media, not be distracted by it, and really buckle down and have very clear focus time. I also use it when I'm not studying. If I want to work on my content for an hour, I'll set a timer for an hour, plant my tree for an hour. And once that's up, I'm okay, it helped me kind of structure my time, structure my day. So I'm a super advocate for that app. But whatever you need to use to build your time management, to pace yourself throughout your day, find a good strategy that works for you. But that's something that worked for me and I love it. You can also add friends on there, you guys, and plant trees together. So we can plant a little forest together. So if anybody gets the app, let me know. Leave me a comment and let me know on my last video or on this community thread so we can add each other and plant trees. Okay, bye. So Louisa asks, post-bac or master's degree? I kind of addressed this earlier. Totally depends on the person, what you're aiming for, and what your journey has been like to date. Post-bac works well with certain people that might just need a few prerequisites, might need just a GPA boost, something like that. Master's is very it looks good. It looks good, and it might also satisfy a lot of those things. It'll help you show that you have a GPA boost. It's more competitive. You can often do more with a master's degree. So totally depends on the person and their journey. That's more of a personal advising type of question. I'd have to know a lot more about your journey, your scores, things like that. Thank you so much again, Simply Nicole, for your super chat. I appreciate it so much. I'm glad you guys are finding value from this. I love Mentor Mondays. I love doing this. I'm going to continue this monthly regardless of my pre-medical mentorship program. So it's not going anywhere, you guys. Monthly Mentor Mondays. Oren asks, what are your thoughts on Caribbean medical schools? Okay, so I've been meaning to do a video on this as well. It's literally on my content creation guide to do a video on this because I'm going to answer this try to be very concisely about it because we don't have much time left and I'm rambling and I'm going to get through all the questions in the chat. Don't worry. But long story short, my 20-cent opinion, really quickly, try to go to medical school in the US, you guys. If you want to do, unless you want to work in the country that you school in, unless you want to do global health medicine, try to go to medical school in the US, you guys. It is a very uphill battle for Caribbean medical students to then try to come back to be a resident in the United States. It is tough. It's tough enough for a US medical student to get a job as a resident in a US residency, let alone coming from a Caribbean school. They have to work 10 times harder, be 10 times better, and it's tough. It's tough for them. So me personally, obviously, I'm coming from my Americocentric mindset of being a US medical student. But I've seen way too many people and not work out for them and not be successful. I also think that there's a major problem with preying on underrepresented minorities because we are typically not as high of standardized test takers. And I feel like it's a sell to get us, because, you know, when you want to be a doctor, you will try to make it happen come hell or high water, right? I feel you, I'm with you. But I feel like they can often prey on that fact and knowing, like, you know, students will do whatever it takes to get the ND, and they don't always process the fact that, okay, you can go and graduate from the medical school, but are you going to get a job as a resident? Are you going to get a spot back in a US residency program, which is the long-term, like, the goal, right? So I just think that it's very risky. So be cautious, be wary. If it's your only option, if it's your only resort, then, you know, like, then so be it. But I would say try to go to a US medical school, like, no matter what, if it's possible. If it's something like scores or something, like, guys, we can overcome those. Like let's chat, let's get it together. Let's figure out where your weaknesses is. Don't try to go like another way around that seems like it's going to be just as easy, because it's not always as easy. So just be wary. All right. Okay, let me see. I lost my place. Okay. Oh, you guys are telling me what you think I'm going to. Okay, OBGYN, surgery, internal med, peds, dermatology. Okay, skin. A lot of surgery. Wow. I did say in a previous video I was not interested in derm. Okay, Oren, paying note to my videos. I love it. Aw, someone says I'm sweet. I might be a family med doc. Are you getting warm? I don't know. Might be a little hot in here. A little hot in here. I see internal medicine. Okay. All right. So let's go. All right. I'm running out of time, but okay. Hi, Julia. I graduated undergrad in 2011. Got a master's in biomedical science. Am a high school biology teacher. My recommendation letters are from 2007 to 2011. Should I try to get updated letters? Absolutely. Absolutely. You should try to get letters within the last like 2 years or so. That's what they kind of recommend across the board. Unless it's a letter more so speaking to like your character or like somebody personally knowing you, like a personal relationship. In that case, then absolutely you can use somebody that you knew from like way back. But still the letter should be written in the recent years. I wouldn't say more than like 2 to 3 years, probably 2, to be honest. Yeah, you don't want to carry over letters. That's not who you are now, right? You have a lot more under your belt. You have a lot more growth and maturity and experiences under your belt. So get somebody who could speak to those, right? Because, you know, you're a decade older essentially. So absolutely try to get updated ones. All right. Let's see, I'm Miss Million. I'm starting my first year of college next month and my major is biology. Woo, go bio majors. I'm really considering music as a minor. Do you think it would be wiser to minor in the sciences? No need to minor in the sciences if you're majoring in the sciences. You're going to get plenty of sciences, major, nope. Don't do it unless you want to do a minor in the sciences. I think minoring in music, if that's where your passion is, absolutely. Because these are, guys, college, like, these are going to be the last time that you get to take classes and really study at that level with in those specialties, right? I mean, in those majors and minors. So choose something else, choose something different, choose something you want to get a little like expertise in. You're going to have the rest of your life to study the sciences when you go on to higher education. So I actually minored, I always forget to say, I minored in Spanish. Yo hablo español un poquito, okay? Yo hablo español. So I study Spanish. I'm pretty conversational in Spanish, actually. Like, I was joking around, but yeah, no. And I loved it. I got to go to Costa Rica and Belize in college and like do research literally on like the Spanish language. Like, those are things I maybe didn't have access to if I didn't do the minor. So it was a great little like other thing to do that I was interested in, but also super helpful. So I would say music minor, girl, go for it and sing us a tune after you're done. Okay, so Martina asks, let's see. I'm starting college next month in the US. Oh my God, let me just say, you guys, like I'm, like all of your messages are making me realize that it really is about to be August and like a new academic year is upon us, and that's crazy. Like, congratulations to all of you who are either starting college or going into another year of college. Like, you're another year wiser, another year smarter, another year on the journey of this thing called academics, So congratulations to all of you, especially the ones who are coming in and starting. You guys are going to have some of the best experiences of your life over the next few years. So she says, I'm from Jamaica. What major do you think is best suited for med school than pre-med? Right now I'm general studies, switching to biology soon. Very good question. Very, very good question. And I addressed this in, which video? I don't know, maybe pre-med 101. But personally, I do not find as much value in majoring in pre-med than I do in majoring in the sciences. Pre-medicine can pigeonhole you into medicine and the health sciences, which is great. Like, it's good because you'll get all the prereqs, and we're here to do medicine if you are. But still, like, I am a big on killing multiple birds with one stone. You guys have heard that I've said this multiple times before, and I just think that like pigeonholing yourself in pre-med, like, doesn't open up other opportunities. So I always kind of say like it's better to major in the sciences because like bio, general biology, biochemistry is another good one that's huge on the Mcat. So like these other things that give you all the same prerequisites, but you have like other courses and things too to kind of like expand the horizons and do something different. So, but in general, I'm biased. I majored in a science. I loved it. And I didn't feel pigeonholed, like, cause people do different things with like science majors all the time, like you don't even have to go into the sciences sometimes. So I think that just go with what fits for you, but definitely switch out of general studies, and pick something. And you could switch if you need to later. But most of the first 2 years anyway are gen ed classes, like general education classes. So it really doesn't start getting down to the nitty gritty until like the end of your sophomore or your junior year, where you start taking higher level classes. But major in something that's going to be the most useful to you, regardless of what that is. How do you manage school and wanting to have a family? When shadowing some of the doctors told me to freeze my eggs because I'll be so busy to date an undergrad, when right now I would rather study. Great question, Simply Aaliyah Nicole. Oh my gosh, I was just having this conversation because I am a woman, I am in medicine, the biological clock starts ticking and, like it's real. And when you think about the process, right, it's 4 years of undergrad, If you have however many X amount of years of gap years, tack those on. If not, 4 years of medical school. Then you go to residency. Residency is anywhere from 3 to like 7 years. Some of the super surgical specialties are 7 years of residency. So you're just in training to be the doctor, and then you get to be the doctor. So, and at every point of those processes, it's like a terrible time to have a child, right? Like, children are beautiful, they're wonderful. You know, I hope to have many one day, but like every point of that journey is like, I don't think that's a good time. You know, I couldn't see myself having a kid right now as I go into, you know, my 4th year of medical school. But then again, I don't necessarily see the best time being in residency either, because you'd have to take time off of your residency and make that time back, like tack it on basically at the end. It's not like you just get to take the time off like a job. Like, no, like you have to make that time up. So all that to say, it goes back to priorities, you guys. Every step of the way, when we are talking about health professions, priorities, although every step of the way might seem like a terrible time, if that's something I want, I'm going to have to make it a time, right? Because I can't not do that forever. But as far as, and plenty of people do it, plenty of people have children in undergrad and come into medical school with undergrad. What am I saying? Come into college, undergrad, medical school with children, have children during med school. Some of my friends planned it out, like, so that they had their child during certain years of medical school, so that the child was a certain age by the time they start residency. Like, people get very creative with it because it's their priority. It's something that they want. So when it comes to the discussion of freezing eggs, I was having this conversation because it's a reality. And it's something that I've considered. It's something that a lot of women in medicine considered, especially if you're non-traditional and you're a little older than maybe students who are 23 years old that aren't thinking about like their eggs. So it's a very like real reality. And I think if that's something that is a reality for you, or, you know, that you should highly consider it. I've had mentors in medicine, women, who have told me straight up, if you are late 20s, early 30s, and you are thinking about children, and you're either in medical school or going to be starting residency soon, you better freeze your eggs. And I was like, like, thank you for the transparency, because nobody's saying that flat out. They're just like, oh, you know, like, you'll find a way to make it happen. Like, no, like, give me the real deal. So yes, it's a reality. It's something women have to consider. And I think you should do what's best for you, and like prioritize accordingly. And if that comes with, you know, doing egg, you know, freezing, then absolutely, I think it's an option and should be considered. Okay, so let me see. I did community service at a medical center where I did patient interaction, filing, etc. in high school. Do I redo something like that in college? Yeah, I think you should always do community service. I always make time for community service. Not only does it look good on a resume, but it makes you connections and whatnot. And if it's somewhere at a medical center, like I said, it's killing multiple birds with one stone. One of the things I did in undergrad actually was I volunteered at a veterans hospital, at a veterans medical center, because, you know, veterans, they have their own hospitals and medical centers. And I volunteered there, and I was literally doing filing and secretarial type stuff. But sometimes there would be like opportunities to like escort the patient. Like, somebody would come in and they'd be like, hey, Julie, can you escort the patient to his appointment on the 5th floor and sit with him, and then bring him back? Because I was in the filing office for some type of claim. So a lot of them come into that office and then go to their appointment, come back to a lot of paperwork stuff. But anyway, so I would be like, sometimes end up like escorting a patient somewhere, like wheeling them around or walking with them, because a lot of disabled members and whatnot, and then sitting in the doctor's office with them, like as an escort essentially. And the doctor would be like, and I'd be like, oh, I'm here, like, you know, like shadowing, working as an intern or a volunteer. I'm in college, going to medical school, interested in medicine. And they'd be like, oh, wow. And, you know, the doctor started talking to you. So that's what I'm saying, guys. Like, just open your horizons, think of other things. You never know. Like, I think it's more valuable to try to find a community service or volunteer opportunity in a medical center than to sometimes shadow because of little opportunities that come up like that. So go with what, you know, works for you and what you think is best for your resume. Dog club. Yeah, I love dogs. Okay. Michael asked, can you please provide the link to your site? Absolutely. I'm going to put it in the chat right now for you guys. Like I said, it's thejuliacarter.com/rising stars. That is where you can find my pre-medical mentorship program, the details all about that. You can also find all of the other additional services that I offer, including general advising sessions where we really sit and hash it out virtually, of course, but if you're local, you're vaccinated, and you wear a mask, hey, let's link up. I don't mind doing it in person. So anyway, general advising, Mcat strategizing, advising. I do personal statements as far as we can sit down and talk about the creations. I'm not going to help you plagiarize, but like we could sit down and talk about where you need to take your personal statement, or I can simply revise your personal statement. And then lastly, I have my financial aid scholarship request template up there. So check out my website for all of those details. All right. What do you think is better, going the PA route or the MD route? Great question, Tortoro. So I'm also going to do a video about this. Oh, I'm slacking, you guys. So like I said, it's really hard to sell medical school sometimes these days to students because, yeah, like if you really get down to the nitty gritty about like, get over the like prestige of like, oh, the doctor, like, oh, like what a doctor is. Like I said, we're heavily indebted. We're in school forever. We're in training forever, and we are not compensated like as much as we once were. So there's a lot of other health professions on the rise for those exact reasons. So what I say is that obviously I'm in medical school. Obviously I'm going to be an MD come like 8 months. But anyway, so obviously I chose that route for a few different reasons. I really wasn't aware of these other programs, you know, back in the day when I was a student. So I didn't know enough to like look in depth of like what a PA is or what an MP is and see if that fits what I was looking to do. But now that I do know of those things, I still made the right decision because there's a lot of things that I want to do academically as far as in academic medicine that I would only be able to do if I was an MD or a DO and faculty, like at an institution or whatnot. So that fits for me and what I desire for my career to look like. However, if a person does not care, I always say if a person does not care about necessarily being like the lion of the jungle, if they don't care about being the top dog, because doctors kind of oversee a lot of other health professions, they oversee kind of like the care of a patient. So even NPs and PAs, in most states, they work under the supervision of a doctor. So if you don't care about stuff like that, about the hierarchy of medicine, and you literally just want to be in the health professions, you want to be compensated well, you want to work with patients directly, don't tell my medical school, but PA school, NPs, nurses. I didn't say it, but I'm just saying, check it out. Check it out. Being honest, you guys. Way less time as far as education and training goes, way more flexibility. They get to kind of hop around and choose what specialty they want. That it's just a lot of perks, you know? And I think it's great. I think it's great. I think those other alternatives should be explored. All right, guys. So I'm getting through these last few questions on the chat, and then we're going to be done, okay? Because I will continue to go forever. As you guys can see, I do not stop. So don't submit any more questions, please, you guys, because we got some to get through, and we'll finish up these ones. And any of your future questions, save or go to the community tab where I posted this, or comment after the video is loaded and put your questions so I can answer it at the next Mentor Mondays. But let's try to wrap it up because you guys know I'll keep going. So, all right. Okay. Nicole asks, do you think medical schools look down on gap years? No, they do not. Maybe once upon a time they did, because students were taking them because basically they weren't competitive. And so it was like looked down on, like, oh, you weren't able to go straight through. You had to take time off. Like, like medicine is a really like turn their nose up type of profession, you guys. But so I do think maybe that stigma was once there, but it is absolutely not there anymore. If anything, as I stated earlier, I think that gap years are more so becoming the norm, not because necessarily everybody needs to revamp their resume or need to kind of get a boost because they've had like pitfalls, but rather people are looking to become more competitive because they need to get in. So people are going to get master's degree, going to take time off to work, or just simply like take time off to explore, because medical school is a 4-year plus commitment, because then you go right through. So no, I don't think that schools look down upon them. At least from what I've heard from admissions committees, they absolutely do not look down upon them. I think that if anything, schools are looking for more and more like diverse candidates. And I mean diverse as far as everything: identities, experiences, work experiences, all life experiences, all of these things. So gap years are typically where a lot of people get those things. So I don't think they're looked down on. If anything, I think the things people do during their gap years make them highly coveted and highly competitive applicants. So absolutely not. And I have a gap years video on my YouTube channel. Check it out for more information. Roger asks, how long did you prepare for the Mcat? So my second time around, where I actually did well, 6 months. So I started at the top of the year, January, and I took it in mid-June. I took it, I think, June 17th, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. And yeah, it was a long road, because I did not want to take it again. And the thing about the Mcat is you have to dedicate the time for it. You can't just passively study for it. Like, oh, I'll do an hour here, an hour there. Like, no, it's like a full-time job to study for the Mcat. So I treated it as such, and I dedicated a lot of time to it, especially because I was not a great standardized test taker. So I needed that time. A lot of people don't need that long, and I probably did longer than, I probably really started heavily studying in about February or March. But I definitely started to crack the books open and get through Khan Academy and stuff early on, because I needed a lot of like foundational help, like relearning concepts, because like reminder, I was also a little removed from undergrad. So when I had started studying for the Mcat again, I was like a year and a half out from undergrad. So a lot of those like biochem and chemistry and stuff, it had totally evaporated from my mind, because I was in a master's of public health, something completely different. So I had to kind of go back and relearn all that stuff. So I had to dedicate a lot more time to it. But be very, very intentional, you guys, about how much time you dedicate to the Mcat. And do not be afraid to take more time. Do not rush it. Do not go in the exam blind. You should not be surprised of like how you do. You should be taking practice tests and assessing how you're going to do. Like, nothing should come as a surprise to you on that day. So take the adequate time that you need to make sure that you do well. Thank you so much, Peter, for your super chat. I appreciate it. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. You know, I try to keep this thing going for you guys. I'm a student. I'm struggling. But no, thank you guys so much for the love. Thank you, Peter. So let's go. Ali, hey Ali, welcome back for another Mentor Mondays. Ali is loyal, y'all. A lot of you guys are loyal, but I always recognize his name. Okay. Hey Julia, question. How far in advance should I schedule for my Mcat? Also, do you suggest studying for each subject? I haven't taken biochem yet, but have taken orgo. Will that be okay? Yes, let me answer. So not having taken biochem is absolutely fine. I actually never took biochem. It wasn't required for the medical schools that I applied to. And it's not always a prerequisite, although it's on the Mcat. And it really does help with your understanding of concepts. Between biology and chemistry, you kind of get it. The biochem just kind of solidifies it all together. But you'll be fine having not taken it. Just make sure you cover the concepts, cover the content. How far do you schedule it in advance? I would say that should be the first thing that you do. As soon as you know that you need to take the Mcat, like in whatever year or whatever, schedule it first. And you should schedule your Mcat according to the application cycle and kind of where you're at. So if you know you want to apply, say, let's say next year, because this year is kind of already done. But if you know you want to apply next cycle, then you need to have taken your Mcat probably by the summertime, right? So by July, August, something like that, preferably in like June. But schedule your Mcat first. And then you build your study plan and how long you need to study for around that date. The thing about getting the date first is that you need a hard deadline. You need to know when you're going to take the test in order to create a very regimented study plan, right? Because you need to know exactly how many days, how many weeks you need to have. So pick your date first, and then build your study plan around it. Now, if you are in a position in which this is going to be your first time taking the Mcat, you're not a strong standardized test taker, you think that you may need to take it again after, I would say to that, there's never any harm into having to take the test twice or multiple times. However, try to do it in one shot. You guys, it's expensive, it's a lot of time for you and whatnot. But if so, then you might want to be somebody who plans an early test date, like earlier in the year, right? Try to take it in a February or March, so that if you need to take it again, you can take it again, take those few months to study, take it again in July, June or July or something like that to still jump into that cycle that year. So it's all personal preference, but all that to say, get your date first, pick and plan your studies around the date. How do I suggest studying for each subject? Take it as it comes. That comes as part of building your study plan. So what I did in particular was I followed the Khan Academy like to a T. So I followed the entire content for them. So I started from very fundamental. I think it starts at like cells or something. And then you work your way through it. And Khan Academy was beautiful in that it set up the content in an organic way that flowed, right? So you're not jumping from organic chemistry one day to then going to elements the next day. And it's like, wait, hold on, you should have already learned elements in order to do organic chemistry. So you need to find a way in which to go through the content in a systematic approach, in whichever way you decide to use it. But I would say that for most standardized tests, for all my standardized tests, actually, the approach that I use is to, in my study plan, literally plan out what I'm studying that day. So for one day, it's going to be following Khan Academy. We're going to do cell biology, and we're going to do that for 2 days. And then on Wednesday, we are going to go to, I don't know, organelles. I don't remember what the system is, guys. But all I'm saying is you should know on what day, like what you're studying, right? Also throw in questions and practice tests into that mix and go. But as far as each subject, yes, block it up. One day is a block of this subject. Next week we're going to do psychology on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we're going to do soc on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Take it like that. Okay, guys, getting through it. I never make these things an hour. I'm so sorry. Feel free to come and go, obviously, as you guys please. But I like to get through all my questions. So thank you for all the questions so far. Cardia Health, you're another loyal one. I remember. Okay, any business or admin challenges that you've observed that doctors or colleagues face in a hospital setting? Anything that you've observed as a reality of the profession that you're subconsciously prepping for? Ooh, that is a great question. Oh my goodness. I think that admin challenges are always huge, right? Because there's so much in medicine that goes on behind the scenes that we just like aren't aware of, especially, one thing that comes to mind immediately is insurance, you guys. Like just as a citizen, you hear about like health insurance and Obamacare and Medicaid, Medicare, all of this stuff, but to see it in practice and how insurance really like makes or breaks healthcare, it's disturbing. It's disheartening sometimes, and it really rules medicine, like medical care. It's disgusting how much of a doctor's decision making is based or rooted in healthcare, and not because they're trying to do any disservice to patients, but because it's the reality, right? Even something like trying to prescribe a certain medication that they know the patient needs and works best for them, but the patient doesn't have insurance or has a certain insurance, so therefore they have to go with an alternative that isn't as effective. That's disturbing. That's so disturbing to me. That's disheartening. So that's something I encounter a lot on the floors, and it's like, how do I fix this? Because this is like, But so that's one thing. And just in general, like there's so many things in medicine that you don't realize until you're in it. Like most things in life, you don't see things that you aren't necessarily directly involved in. So yeah, there's a lot of one thing I guess is like that, I wish doctors were more humanistic sometimes, like not everyone cares as much as I wish they would. But on the other side, I've learned that I never knew how involved nurses are in the healthcare of a patient. Like we know that, you hear that, like, oh, the nurse is kind of like the front line, whatnot. Psh, nurses are they are that thing. They are those people. So anyway, all that to say, there's plenty of things, there's plenty of challenges across the board, so many to discuss, honestly, that I've noticed and that I'm subconsciously already preparing myself for, especially as a woman, especially as a minority in medicine. Those don't even need to be kind of like elaborated on because we know. So there's a lot of things that, I've built up tough skin over the last three years in medicine, even as a student, and I'll have to continue to build on that tough skin as a resident, and as a doctor. So, all right. Alicia says, let's see, the people versus the USA. Tell everyone about right heart failure. Yeah, it's real. Okay, heart failure is real. Mm-hmm. Yep. The world, cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death in the United States. So heart failure is real. I would say more, but I would kind of be giving away some things. But all right, Kiana asks, volunteering versus clinical experience. May you please give some examples? Okay. So let's see, volunteering. You can go volunteer at the animal shelter. You can volunteer at a soup kitchen. You can volunteer at your high school, at the concession stand. Clinical experience. You could be a medical scribe. You can volunteer at the VA hospital by working in, the office of filing claims. So there's just so many different things. Volunteerism is everything, right? Is everything. Anywhere you can volunteer to do anything, anywhere. Clinical experience, however, and that you can do volunteerism in clinical experience, which is what I suggest. So I would suggest you try to do volunteer work in a clinical setting. So it's kind of hitting on clinical experience, but also giving you volunteerism. So volunteering at medical centers, volunteering at a doctor's office. There was a woman on my third year rotations. There was a high school student that would come into the clinic and she would clean. Like she would clean the cabinets. She would organize like the papers, create like secretarial stuff too, like create the pamphlets that are passed out in the waiting room, like different types of things. And she was just a high school student, but she would get to talk to me because I was there too, so it was like these little type of opportunities that put you in the right place at the right time. So that's kind of just a little tidbit. All right, Kiana says, I'm a CNA that works in the emergency room and I'm volunteering at Red Cross. Great. What can I do more to my volunteering and clinical work? I think you're in a great place. You're clinically working as a CNA. You're also volunteering at Red Cross that is like clinical. So those are exactly two things that I'm specifically like talking about that's killing multiple birds with one stone that are very relevant to medicine. So I would say you're doing well. If you're good at that, I would say just continue to do those things. If you want to add more to your resume, then obviously just keep it going. Like try to expand out and do some other things, you know, to kind of be more like holistic. But you could do anything at this point. You're hitting a lot of birds. So Atro says, hey Julia, I'm in college, a junior. What do you think is the best way to spend one's break? I plan on taking the Mcat sometime within the next year. Spend what break, Atro? Like your summer breaks or your winter breaks or like your break in the day, like your lunch break? Give me some clarification. But I think in general, I think you mean probably more like summer breaks and stuff. Let me know. Let me know what you think and I'll circle back to that one. Okay? Okay. So Kiana asks again, how do you feel about Chappette summer program? This is how I feel about it. I think it's great. I did not do it. I didn't do any of those like summer programming, Chappette. There's another one, Smart, I think. There's another one, I forget. My school does all of those, my medical school. And I see the students come in now that I'm a medical student. A lot of my friends are the mentors for like Chappette and stuff like that. And I think it's fabulous, fabulous. Find a place that is, because I think you guys could go to like different universities or whatever for Chappette. So find somewhere good and do it. Those are the type of programs that look good on a resume too. That's something that I wish I would have been more involved in. And like in high school, there's ones catered to high school students. In college is like those summer programmings. They give you a lot of great opportunities. And more importantly, what I think is that like I see a lot of the Chappette students. And because the deans of like my medical school and like the vice deans and stuff, like they're very familiar with the Chappette students, it's kind of like an early like access to those people, right? Like they will remember you. They will see your application come across the desk. They will see that you did Chappette. Like these are great things that are good for you when applying for medical school. So I think it's great. I think it's a great option. Okay, let's see. Asia, thank you so much. You know, I put on makeup and get dressed sometimes, you guys. Okay, actual clarified. I meant summer or winter. Okay, I thought so. So as far as your summer and winter breaks, take some time off, you guys. Have fun if you're talking about college, right? Yeah, like your breaks, take time off, enjoy yourself, like travel. I did some of my most like favorite and adventurous travel during like my summer breaks. Amazing stuff, you know, because once you get to medical school, you don't always have like that flexibility. So take your time off. Like, and another thing I will say is that I remember one semester in college, one summer break, like summer semester, I took classes. So I took classes and got ahead a little bit. And that really helped me as well. They were also like cheaper in the summertime. So all this to say, do whatever you want. Don't stress yourself out. Have fun. Enjoy your breaks because you'll be wishing you had breaks later on. So don't think that you have to be like on academic turned on all the time. Turn it off. Go to freaking Denver, Colorado and go skiing or snowboarding or something in the wintertime. So Asia says, I just started PA school and I love your videos. Thank you so much. I'm glad that individuals outside of just medical school can enjoy and get value out of these videos. Although obviously I'm a medical student, I cater my content toward like pre-medicine. Pre-medicine includes all health professions. So PA, nursing, dental, you know, all of that. It's very relevant. We all follow very similar processes when it comes to applying and, you know, matriculating into our respective programs. So I'm glad that you can find value in my videos, although you are in PA school, because that shows that it's very translatable and transferable. And I'm like, I kind of pat myself on the back for that, because, you know, I don't want to pigeonhole anyone, you know, I want other people to find value as well. So thank you so much, Asia. All right. Mercy asks, oh wait, did I skip a question? Astro says, what would you recommend in general for those going for a more unorthodox specialty that will not necessarily be in a clinical setting? Example, medical examiner. Great question. I think that you should do the same. You should follow the same recipe. It's very, you know, it's very kind of systematic and very similar. The thing about like medical examining is that there is, like, they do that in medical school too. Like, there's pathologists who work in the ME's office. There's an elective in my school for, like, you do an elective at the medical examiner's office and work with, like, you know, the I forget what it's called, the doctor that does the autopsies and stuff. But all of that to say, I think you follow the same recipe as far as get the experiences you need, try to infiltrate, get into those spaces, shadow, work, find your way in somehow to get exposure to those individuals. That's more of a exclusive, right? It's a smaller niche, so you might have to work a little harder, be a little more creative, but do so because, you know, it'll pay off. So I would like cold calling. Somebody asked about, do you recommend like cold calling offices? Absolutely. Calling offices. Hey, I'm a student. I'm interested in like volunteer opportunities or shadowing opportunities. I'm wondering if that's an option there or how I can go about doing so. The worst they can say is, we don't do that. Okay, fine. You know, next step, medical schools, work with a pathologist, you know, and work your way in that way. Like pathologists, hey, do you know how I can get exposure to the ME's office? Oh, I go to the ME's office on Tuesdays. Can I go with you? You know, like little things like that, you know, ask you guys. One thing about this journey, this career path, you have to learn to be more vocal. Ask for things you want. You will not get things that you do not ask for most times. So step out of your comfort zone and try to fight for what you want, you know? Okay, Mercy says, please talk about UWorld Step 1. Okay, so across the board, not just Step 1, UWorld is a great resource, starting even back in Mcat times. So I did not use UWorld for Mcat because I didn't know it existed back then. However, I used it in medical school, all throughout medical school, and obviously I use it now for my board exams, and it is the gold standard question bank for all things medicine. Use it, you guys. That is one resource. Skip the Kaplan review. Kaplan course and the Princeton Review course, buy UWorld MCAT. If that's something that, if you're going to dish out a few $100s for something, make it UWorld. That is where your money is. That is where the key is. UWorld across the board. For Step 1, it's critical. You basically have to use it. There's a new Q bank on the scene. It's called Amboss for medical school. It's really effective. I'm using it now for Step 2. I've decided to switch over from UWorld and give Amboss a try because it's more user friendly, their platform. But all that to say, UWorld is huge. Step 1, it was critical. Like I couldn't have I couldn't have taken the test without doing UWorld, which speaks to its effectiveness. So it's pretty much necessary. It's a necessary expense in medical school. It's very effective though. It's the gold standard. It pretty much is. For now, it's here to stay and you will have to use it as a medical student. All right, we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. A few more. Okay, Oren says, how do you feel about students abusing stimulants in medical school? Ooh. Okay, so say no to drugs. Say no to drugs that you are not prescribed. Say no to drinking and driving. Say no to anything that's going to get you kicked out of med school or in trouble. That's it. You know what I mean? Here's the thing, you guys. Like stimulants, they're you will learn more about them in medical school and why exactly that they work, or why people abuse them because they work. But they're dangerous. They can be easily abused. And I think that you just have to be very careful. Like of course, if somebody is prescribed a stimulant, if they have a diagnosis that requires them to take medications, whatever the medications is, then they take those responsibly, obviously. But as far as abusing stimulants, I think it's dangerous. And I think that you should be able to, you don't want to get into habits of across the board, caffeine even, because we abuse caffeine, you don't want to get into the habit of needing things in order to do well or be successful. You shouldn't have to need anything, right? Because then what happens when you don't have what you need, right? What happens when you are a doctor and you don't have the things that you needed to get up to this point? It's dangerous. Don't do it. Do it on your own will and merit. You know what I mean? Unless you have a diagnosis that requires, medications. Ale says, hello, I'm an IMG intending on taking step 1 with a 12-month plan. How do I go about it? Wow, Ale, let's chat about it. That's a very broad question. I would say start with checking out my USMLE Step 1 study plan video on my YouTube. I described my study plan in total, kind of what I did. I even put up what resources I used, how I made my schedule. Obviously, my Step 1 study plan was a lot more condensed than yours, which is with the intention of a 12-month, which means you'll have more time, but also beware of fatigue. Study fatigue is real. From all tests, from Mcat up to USMLEs. Sometimes there is a kind of like there's like a bell curve, right? A bell curve of studying. So if you study too little, you're not up enough. You're not up on the curve. You want to get right in the middle where you're at the peak effectiveness, because if you go too long, you're now down sloping, and you're forgetting things that maybe you learned at the top of the 12 months. So just be wary. I think that you're somebody that maybe we should chat more personally, being that you're an IMG and you're preparing for step 1 with a pretty good time length in between. Check out my website. Maybe we can chat more personally, some advising or something like that, to get you on the right path to be more successful across the board in your pursuits. But yeah, I would say start with my YouTube video on USMLE study plan. Make sure you have your resources lined up, pick a test date, a hard test date, and figure out what you need your plan to be across the board. Okay, we're getting there, guys. Okay, so Samuel asks, how was your transition from being undergrad to being a medical student? Woo! I did another video about this. It was called From the Classroom to the Hospital Ward, I think, the transition from a student or something like that. Check that video out. I talked about it, but it was tough. It was tough. I always say undergrad, even grad school, is a different ball game than medical school, you guys. 2 different arenas. Like medical school, It was a lot. It was a lot to be thrown in there. Because I always thought I was smart. I always thought I was a great student. I always got by. In medical school, I was like, what the heck? Like 40 lectures? Like I have to go through 40 lectures for a test, like in 2 weeks? What? A lot of content very quickly. If you do not have good study habits coming into medical school, you will drown quickly and you'll have to get it together. So it's a lot of being flexible. It's a lot of adapting really quickly. It's a lot of being okay with not having it all together right away, especially the first year, the first few months. A lot of trial and error, figuring out how you learn best, whether going to class versus watching the lectures online, podcasting, whether to use videos or the slides, whether to use external resources versus your lecture slides, whether to start preparing for step 1 early or focusing on your school's content. There's a lot that goes into the transition from what I know as like pre-med to a med student. It's very different, you guys. Which is why you want to be in the best position to do well coming in. And when you have good mentors, good advising, you kind of can get a sense of what it's going to take earlier, because you don't want to be like blindsided and take so long to adjust. You want to pick it up and be like, okay, this is how it works. Good to go. Some people, it takes them months, the full year, full 2 years to really get the handle on like what med school is and what it requires of you. And that's why, some people do better than others. So sorry, all that to say, it was tough for me. It was tough. I was definitely one of the ones who took a lot longer to get adjusted. The first 2 years of medical school were in the classroom. I was not a fan. I'm not a classroom type person. But third and fourth year, when you're on the floors, when you're learning from patients, I'm more of a conceptual learner. I need to build the dresser, to learn like, oh, that's how it worked, putting it together, like showed me like how it worked. If I just read the book of like, okay, that drawer goes there, I don't know how to then go build that dresser. No, I got to do it, like practice it. I'm more of like a hands-on type of learner. So for me, the third year really put together a lot of my weaknesses, because seeing the patients, seeing in person, like what I learned the first 2 years, put it all in context for me, like conceptualized it, like, oh, this is why I learned about the kidneys, because this person needs dialysis because their kidneys aren't filtering the electrolyte, the potassium or the sodium correctly. Like learning that in the book, it just didn't make sense to me. So all of that to say, we got it together though. I'm here. It was a struggle though. It was a struggle for real. But everybody learns differently, and you get it together. You learn how to get done what you need to get done. So, all right. Thank you guys so much. Cardia Health, Ali, Lamar Jackson. Welcome. Lamar Jackson is one of my newest Rising Star mentees. I'm so excited to chat with you and get to know you and about your journey. So yes, like I said, you guys, I put my website above, the Julia Carter /Rising Stars. My pre-medical mentorship program is live and launched. I will be taking about 20 new mentees, because one thing I will not do is be a bad mentor. So I do not want to overextend myself. So I want to give, 20 people a really great option to get some really personal advising from me. So go check my website. If not, I have additional services available. If not, my YouTube is here to stay. Mentor Mondays is here to stay. I will continue putting out free content on my YouTube, so don't you worry. So yeah, whatever is the niche that you guys need, I'm here for you in all aspects. So check it out. All right, let's see. I think I have 2 more. How did you figure out? Dominique says, how did you figure what type of study styles cater to you? This is a part of the transition and figuring out how you learn best. Why I struggled so much my first year of medical school is because I was holding on to old study strategies that worked for me in college. And like I said, it's not the same ballgame. So I was trying to do things the same way, and it wasn't working because the learning, the rigor, the curriculum is just different. So you have to really figure out, like, how do I learn best? Am I a textbook learner? Am I an audio learner? Like, do I need to listen to the lectures like over and over and over again? Like, hear people explain it? Am I a visual learner? Do I need to watch a video of somebody like whiteboarding or drawing an explanation? Do I what do I like? Am I a combination learner? Do I need to do a little bit of reading over the lecture slides and visual learning? So that's what a lot of my first year of medical school was figuring out, like, how do I learn best, and how can I get through all of this material and all of this curriculum efficiently to do well on these tests? So that's the struggle of medical school, is that there's so much material and you need to find the best way that you learn best to get through it. Also, for me, I'm a visual learner, so I had to watch videos. And I also have to kind of teach back. I use the teach back method to myself. So I always say, if you can explain something to somebody else, it's because you know it well enough that you can explain it. You know it at your core well enough to be able to explain it to somebody else. So I kind of practiced that. I was just like in the comfort of my own home, or like by myself, like, okay, Julie, so, the kidney works by this. This is the proximal tubule. It resorbs, this, and that. So you really just have to figure out like how you learn and be okay with trial and erroring things. You also have to learn when to let go of old strategies. Don't hold on to things that aren't working, you guys. A lot of students are like, I'll just try this for the next test and the next test. I know it's going to work. I know it's going to work. I know that if I just continue reviewing the lectures, I'll learn. No, if something is proving that it's not working, move on and try something else. Don't hold on to it. You're in a different ball game, so it's going to require different strategies. All right. So, all right, last question. Is it Janai, I think? So for remote settings or hybrid settings, what are some words of wise you give to those in undergrad making connections? Okay, you guys. So in terms of volunteering, shadowing, internship. Okay, so obviously, we had this pandemic happen upon us, and we are in this virtual world, this remote kind of world, right? Like we have been, for like what feels like a decade. Thankfully, we're coming out of it. So a lot of places are no longer remote, or, are coming back to in-person things. So I would definitely say that you should try to get, out into the community, out into the volunteer work and the schools or whatever the case may be in person. There's nothing like being in person across the board for everything. But if you do happen that you cannot access those things, or you need to do things remotely or whatever, then there are plenty of opportunities, that are available remotely. You would just have to try to make the best effort out of it. A lot of my extracurriculars as a medical student went virtual over the pandemic. So a lot of my volunteering and stuff like that. So instead of going, I used to facilitate a program in prisons in New Jersey, and I would go and teach the residents of the prison about different health topics, and we would do that in person, in the facility. And when the pandemic hit, we had to do it virtual. So they would congregate and be on a Zoom call, and we would congregate and be on a Zoom call, or, in our different boxes. So it helps in certain aspects. So yeah, it's still around, and it's most places probably aren't going to get rid of a lot of virtual things anyway. So I think that we need to continue to get used to it. But I would definitely say when it comes to especially volunteering, shadowing, those are things that are going to be best suited for you in person. So definitely look for those opportunities, and we are now back in person. So do that. As far as making connections, like I said, cold calling, find out if, hey, do you have opportunities available for a student to shadow, blah, 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 blah. Is it remote? Is it in person? Okay, blah, 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 all of that stuff. So a lot of the details you can find out by just doing your research beforehand and figuring it out. But yeah, most of the world is opening back up. A lot of the world is opening back up. So, and a lot of people are hurting for volunteers and students and whatnot that are vaccinated or that can help, because a lot of people aren't willing to, or are still more so cooped up. So definitely just explore. There's opportunities out there. My school is back in action, in full swing. So yes. All right, guys, last few questions and then that's it. So oh my gosh, this was a 2-hour session, you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay. So let me get this through. Marla says, hi, Julia. I love your channel so much. I'm taking the Mcat in a few weeks and I'm so nervous. Do you have any advice on dealing with anxiety while nearing the end of your studying? Marla, oh my goodness. I feel for you. I remember how anxious I was for the Mcat, especially being a second time taker. I remember how anxious I just was a few weeks ago when I took literally the most important exam of my life for medical school. So I would say that I would say that I'm trying to be like real profound here, as you can see. I would say combat anxiety with confidence. If you are confident in what you know and how you perform, you don't gotta be anxious, girl. You ain't gotta be anxious. Like, I think I thought I was more anxious than I actually was. But when you're performing well and you're reaching your milestones and whatnot, that combats anxiety. You know what I mean? Like, if you show yourself like, oh wow, like I'm doing this, you know, like I'm damn near hitting my targets on my Mcat mock exams. I'm, getting through a lot of, more importantly, I'm understanding the things I'm seeing. That, be confident in that. It's because you know what you know, girl. Like, it's because you know what you know. So don't let anxiety is like the shadow that just creeps behind you. Don't let it consume you, because you know if you're good, So I always say I go into tests thinking I know everything, and even as I'm taking a test, right? If I'm like, damn, I don't know this answer, I'm clicking something, like reasoning through it, clicking it, and being like, yep, I got that right. Next. I got it right. Yep. Next. Because you also, like, a test can discourage you as you go too. If you're like seeing things that you think you don't know, and you're like, damn, I got 5 in a row wrong, like blah, 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 blah. So all that to say, take time, be confident in what you know. If you are not, it's a different discussion to be had if you're not performing well, in which case more time is necessary. You know what I mean? But if you're ready to take it and you're doing well and you'll get there, a few weeks time. And when we're talking standardized tests, a lot can change in like 3 days when we're talking standardized test study, So be confident in what you know. Do not let anxiety get to you. Instead, keep grinding and, get good night's sleep. Eat well, treat your body well, take time off, take breaks, go get that Chick-fil-A or, like that ice cream that you wanted. Take breaks, treat yourself well, and give yourself grace. You'll be fine. Be confident. All right, guys, last 2 questions and that's it, okay? So Gina asked, any advice on finding and keeping mentors? I've had 2 so far through programs, and my last one just ghosted me. Oh my goodness. I reached out to check on her a few times and haven't heard back. Oh my gosh, Gina, I'm sorry to hear about that. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I said, there's no such thing necessarily as a bad mentor, but there are definitely good mentors and better mentors that are good fits. So I think that's where it kind of comes with like being selective and discernment. Not everyone who's a mentor is right for you. Not everyone who is a mentor or offers mentorship is a good fit or is even a good mentor. You know what I mean? People have different skill sets and different abilities that work in different ways. And so that's where I think the importance of finding and keeping mentors is in finding the right fit. It's like a doctor or a marriage. Like you want to find somebody who completely understands you, who you feel like has your best interest at heart, who will invest in you, and who understands your journey, you guys. Like, I cannot emphasize this enough. Like, someone who understands where you're coming from so that they can appropriately advise you is the key to good mentorship. Because if I have no idea, like, I don't understand your background, I don't understand where you come from, like, I don't understand how how you did in college or your struggles on the Mcat, how the hell am I going to advise you to get to where I am when I'm not even putting in the time to get to know how you got to where you are? And, you really have to have discernment. You really have to be selective when finding a mentor, because not everyone can offer you what another person can offer you. And mentors come in many different shapes, sizes, types. You know what I mean? It could be a friend. It could be a YouTuber. It could be a doctor. You really have to trial and error people and figure out who you feel like really like can best serve you for where you are right now and can help you open doors or get to where you want to go. So I would just say have discernment, be selective, and don't be afraid to drop people. Don't be afraid, not necessarily ghost them. She was wrong for that. That's unprofessional. That's not cool, just at its core. But if it wasn't a good fit, if she couldn't offer you what you needed, then she should have just been upfront about that. Like before I was saying, you know, if someone is not interested in matriculating into a U.S. medical school, I'm not the best mentor for you. I can try to find you a friend or somebody I know that went to medical school in the Caribbean or something like that. But I have a very particular skill set that I can offer pre-medical students that want to go to U.S. medical schools. So I will be upfront about what I can offer you and what I cannot offer you. So just be selective, you know, like they are investing in you as much as you are investing in them. So you are investing into a mentor. So be wise with who you pick, you know, because you are giving them your time as well. All right, guys. Lamar, yes, I saw you signed up today. I thank you so much. I'm so excited to get Rising Stars off the ground and start, you know, this pre-medical mentorship program. I've been wanting to do it for months and it finally kind of came together. So I'm glad to have you. I'm glad to get to know you. And I look forward to working with you closely and get you to where you want to go. So very, very excited. Is it Gigan? Shoot, how do I say that? Gigan, what specialties are you interested in, Julia? I'm an American studying in the Caribbean. If you weren't here earlier, I said I am going to announce my specialty in a few weeks, probably, the specialty in which I'm applying into. It's a surprise. So continue to let me know what you guys think I am going into, whether I'm going to be an OBGYN, a pediatrician, a surgeon, a family med doc, whatever you think. Let me know. What do you think fits me? But I will be announcing it very, very soon. So we could take bets. We could take wagers. Whoever's right gets like a prize. Okay. Victoria, yes, girl. Time flies by when you're having fun. We are on hour 2. This is ridiculous. Like who was asking me about time management? I booked an hour for this and I'm not even, see what I mean? I don't even go follow my own advice. I don't even follow my own freaking words, but I don't have anything to do after this. So that's why I don't mind keeping going. But no, we are done. So, all right. That's it, I think. Lamar, yes. Kiana says, how do you find research opportunities? Ask your schools. So that is definitely a cold emailing type of thing. Go to research advisors if they have them in your colleges. But honestly, what I found most successful is to Google search or search in your college or medical school, whatever, for researchers who are doing research and things you are interested in. Email them directly. Email them. I am so-and-so. I am a college student, medical student, whatever the case may be. I'm interested in researching this, this, and this. I'm wondering if you have any projects that you are currently working on and if there is any way in which I can get involved in your research in any capacity. Make sure you offer that you are very flexible, right? That you are flexible to work in any capacity, whether that's data entry, whether that's getting certified in humans research to go and, you know, actually interview people, whatever the case may be. Make yourself available to them in any capacity. It shows that you're interested. It shows that you're willing to do whatever it takes, and they'll be more inclined to like find a spot for you on their research, which is really good because getting research early is good. It's not necessary. I always say that it's absolutely not necessary. I did not have much research at all on my medical school application. But it is definitely helpful, and it's definitely helpful to have some coming into medical school for residency because you don't have as much time in medical school to be as involved in research. So coming in with some is helpful because it gets your resume up there a little bit. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Engelbert. Gigandre. Wait, that is a very rude comment. Engelbert. Well, thank you. I know I talk too much, boy or girl. We are on hour 2 of an hour 1 session, so clearly I talk too much. Are you new around here? Like, are you new to this channel? I say it in damn near every video that, this is going to be short and it's 30 minutes. So, duh. But no, I don't mind. I don't take that as a insult, because I definitely do talk too much, which is part of why we're here, right? Okay, so Gigandre last comment says, I think you are going into a specialty with good work-life balance, derm, anesthesia, etc., but I'm not sure. You are absolutely right in that I was very particular about picking a specialty that gave me a good work-life balance, because I'm keeping my YouTube. I don't know what they think once I become a doctor, if I'm just gonna not be a YouTuber anymore. No, I love this. You know what I mean? If they think I'm not gonna have my mentorship program anymore, absolutely not. At that point, I'm gonna be a doctor. When I'm faculty somewhere, what? No, I have too much going on outside of medicine that I love to do to just be consumed by it. Although it's my passion, although it's my calling, I'm definitely going to help my patients and be a great doctor. However, there's so many other ventures that I would love to explore in my life, and I'm definitely going into something that I feel like will be flexible and accommodating to that. So. You're warm. You're warm. You're hot, definitely on that note. So yeah, the specialty will be dropped soon. Thank you so much, Victoria. Yes, I will be dropping the video about what specialty I'm going into soon. All right, guys. So that officially concludes Mentor Mondays. This is our second session of this series. And it was a great one. I'm sorry it lasted so long. Like Engelberg said, I talked too much. Sorry, not sorry. I'm talking because clearly there's questions that need answers, and I'm here to answer them. So, okay. But anyway, I thank you guys so much for tuning in. I thank you for everyone who sent me super chats. Peter, Taylor, Simply Aaliyah, Nicole. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support and keeping this going. If you guys have not, please definitely check out my website and my mentorship program at thejuliacarter.com/rising stars. I will put it one more time into the chat. Please go check it out. I would love to have some of you as part of my mentorship joining me in Lamar for our first series of workshops and everything that will be had as a part of the program. If not, there's also additional services that are available, including general advising, where me and you can sit down and really hash out where you're at, where you want to go, have some general advising sessions, Mcat strategy, personal statement creation, as well as revising. I can look at your personal statement and revise it. I actually love personal statements, you guys. I pride myself on having written some pretty good personal statements that I've told us stood out. So we could definitely chat about those, because it's huge as part of an application, as well as my financial aid template that I use to secure a full scholarship. That's also for sale on the website. So you can purchase any of those additional services. Or you can just continue to watch my YouTube videos and hear me talk for 2 hours on Mentor Mondays. Whatever the case may be, I'm here for you guys. I love you guys. I hope you found value in this. I hope you continue to tune in, support the Mentor Mondays series, and share with your friends, your peers, your students, whatever the case may be, who might find helpful advice on here. Be sure to continue submitting questions, not on this chat, not today, we're done. But on any of my YouTube videos or on the community tab, I will continue to answer those. And yeah, we'll keep it going. So with that being said, I will see you guys next Monday. I'm kidding. No. I meant next month. I will see you guys next month. I will post in the community tab the date in which the next Mentor Monday series will be had, but it will definitely be had on a Monday at 7 p.m. And we will keep this thing going. Thank you guys again so much. I love you. Stay safe, stay well, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys. Oh, I forgot the A. Let me see. Oh, yeah. All right, guys, I'm moving too fast. All right, love you guys. Bye.